Now that we have our tracing covered up with that grey colour, the mix, we are now ready to put some tonal value on this picture. So I always look at the picture in black and white. Again, you will get this as a PDF, but I also encourage you to have a look at it on a screen as well, because sometimes when you look at it on a printout, it doesn't always give the true colour. So, but we want to look. So I've put this in grayscale, and then we're going to change to colour later on. However, it just helps us to see the darks and the lights. Now, there are some lovely contrasts with this coffee cup. So I'm going to just pop a little bit of dark in the background, because that will contrast against the light of the cup. And then we've got some really dark values coming down underneath here and here as well, and just down at the side. So good to put those in because it just helps us get started, and it's a bit of a guide for us. So we're just using the same colour that we used to actually put those marks down, so the lines. So that's your line drawing already done. So again, I'm just going to mix up same colour with white, Paynes Gray, and a little bit of alizarin crimson. It gives a sort of purpley, mauvey colour. I'm squeezing that brush out again, like so. And I'm going to use my number 9 brush. Actually, this is a number 8 brush. So we're going to start by just popping in some dark value. And you don't have to worry too much about making it nice and neat at this stage, because we will be covering this up. It's just a little bit of a start for us. Now it's sort of on an angle, is that comes down on an angle. And then we want to keep that nice coffee cup nice and light. So this is just picking out your edges. You can always go back over it and make it a little bit darker if you want to. This is quite watery though, really, to start with. Quite a bit of water in that to start with. We don't want to make it too dark at this stage, because it will dull the rest of the painting. So now that's dark around the edge there. And that will be a nice contrast. You can just see a little bit of a dark area. It's sort of dark right around the handle there as well. That's going to help us with the contrast. Just going to make that slightly darker by just painting over it again. So this coffee cup, I picked it off Unsplash, which is a free reference photo app, or you can go online as well. And you can use these pictures as long as you sort of say thank you to the photographer. It's nice to do that. I've also edited the photograph on an app called PixArt. Now, I will be doing another demonstration to show you how I edit my photographs, images. Nice lovely dark area there. Again, that's going to contrast underneath. dark contrast there. This area here is a little bit darker. And here, that just gives you the illusion of a round cup, doesn't it, that? This is a slight darker area here. So now you're looking at the reference and it's trying to make sense to you now. I'm going to leave the plate white, but there's some darker shadows reflecting on the plate from the cup itself. A bit on the handle there. And if you add a bit more water, we can just put some lighter tone where the coffee is itself. And then go back in with a little bit of a darker edge to it. That's giving the coffee cup a feeling of depth. Okay, so there's a lot of lines here, which I'm not going to put all those lines in. I've actually just indicated one or two, so I'm just going to put those in, and I'm just going to be a little bit random with those, so not worrying too much about where I put them, as long as they're going in the right direction and the same angle that you can see here. You want to have the same angles, otherwise that will make it a little bit, the perspective won't be right. Okay, so all of this is in shadow. This is the lighter tone. There's a little bit of a shadow from the saucer itself. It's just giving it, it's a wooden table, I think, by the look of it, so just giving it the illusion of wood. There we go. So that's just giving us a right good start. And then I'm going to put some lighter tone at this top corner here, just a little bit of a light. So I just added a bit more water to that mix, just to get that lighter tone in the background, because it is quite dark and we want to show that. And then down here as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with slightly darker now. So not as much water and not as much white. And then there's a darker shadow here. You don't want to overdo it at this stage. It is just a tonal sketch. All this is going to be covered up. But what it does is when we start to paint with the local colour, which is the top colour, the finishing colour, you're not going to lose your drawing in all the midst of all the other paint that goes on top of it now. I'm just going to darken, if I can, that bottom. And what this does is you don't have to use quite as much of your lovely paint now that you've darkened a few areas. A little bit of a darker touch there, which will pop in. 1 or 2 darker lines in the wood. Only 1 or 2. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Right, so now that we've got that tonal sketch in, now for this, I'm just going to show you the coloured version. The next stage is putting some underpainting on this piece. So I want to contrast and put the opposite underneath. So we've got warm reds, magentas and oranges. A nice warm sandy colour for the coffee. Some warmer tones inside the coffee cup here, but it's mainly cool is the coffee cup. So I want to put some warmer colour underneath the coffee cup colours and some cooler colours underneath where it's really vibrantly orange. So the opposite of orange on the colour wheel, and it is cool as well, is blue. So I'm going to put some blue and some magenta, which is also a cool colour, in the background wash. And then I'm going to put some warmer orangey colours underneath the coffee cup itself. Right, so let's start first of all in the background. I can already see magentas coming through, so I'm going to put some magenta in the background and on the table. So I'm using Quinacridone Magenta for this. Nice clean brush. I'm going to add a little bit of water to it just to make it spread a bit, and also you don't want it too dark. So I'm going to put magenta at this side. So I'm still looking at the cup. Like so. I am going to put some magenta just in the bottom corner here. I can just see some magenta poking through. Let's just pop some in. And this is what this app does for you. It sort of brings out the magenta colours, which I actually love. So popping a bit in there, and I'm just going to take the magenta around that shadow of the saucer as well. And don't get too hung up on what colours to put underneath. Sometimes I'll just put magenta on, but I'm just showing you what you can achieve. Right, just be sure and get the colour right to the edge of your board. I always have a rag just to get most of the moisture out of your brush. So the next colour I want to add to this piece is a nice cool colour. Let's have a think. Let's put some Phthalo blue green shade. Let's mix that with a tiny touch of white. Tiny touch of white. And then again, I want it watery. You don't want to put too much white in, because when you put white in, it makes it slightly opaque. So I don't want it too vibrantly blue either, so it's quite watered down. And then I'm going to squeeze my brush out on the side of my palette, and then I'm going to put some lovely blue in the background here, over the top of that darker colour that we used. This is going to be a nice cool colour in the background. And then we can put that same blue actually underneath this orange table now, because that is a contrasting colour. It's the opposite on the colour wheel. Here we go. And it's cool, it's a cool colour, which is going on top of a warm colour. And you can also break the rules as well, you know, you don't have to follow that. But it is just a guide for you to get you started. Rules are meant to be broken sometimes, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so there's a little bit of, I can see some orange there, so we'll pop a bit of blue in that little triangle. And then blue on the rest of the table. This is going to look gorgeous. I'm going right to the edge of the board. You want paint to go right to the edge. So some easels have like a lip, don't they, inside? So you might have to just lift your board out whilst you get right to the edge. Just going over that bit again with a bit more stronger colour. Like that. This is just the washes stage, it's not the actual painting. And all of this colour will be covered up as well when we get the local colour, the real colour that we can see here on top. My idea is that you can actually see some of this little bits of this colour shining through and will complement. So this style of painting is very loose brush marks, and sort of really quick way to paint. So I'm going to put some of that blue. Actually, no, I'm going to put some magenta in because I can see magenta inside the coffee cup. Let's put some magenta in the cup. And for that, I'm going to use Hansa Yellow Opaque. A Naphthol Red Light. It's an orangey red. I always start with mixing the colour of yellow first and add the red really sparingly, just touching the corner of my brush, because it's quite vibrant, is that red. Remember, this is just the washes stage, so we don't need a lot. It's only in a tiny area, and we want to put some water with that to make it a little bit more translucent. Squeeze my brush out on the side and then just paint the whole of that cup in orange. These are going to shine through and look absolutely stunning, these colours. It's a beautiful, beautiful colour, that. Okay, so opposite colours underneath. So we've got cool underneath, warm, a little bit of magenta, just because I can see the magenta here. I can also see magenta in this little bit of a shadow area here, which is, I've put the magenta there. That's running down a little bit, look. That's because my brush was too wet. I'm just going to dab that off. And then we've got orange underneath this lovely cool green and yellow. So the yellow here is quite cool as well. So I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll mix up some colours and start painting this. So I did skip ahead here just to give us a bit more of a head start on the background. Okay. Right, back on this now. So we want some lighter colour to go on this now. Let's mix that orange again. With Hansa Yellow Opaque and Naphthol Red Light. And some white. A little bit less red now, so a bit more yellow and quite a bit more white, so that we're really coming into the highlights now. And that's still quite a red orange, so don't put too much yellow in, I suppose. It's like a peachy orange, isn't it? More of a peachy colour. I think that's better. Okay. Right, let's put some highlights on this table and then we'll call it a do. And it starts to come together when you put the highlights on. Some tiny ones. All those dark tones underneath shining through now. So. Could just see a little bit of a highlight in the background there, which is why I popped that in. I'm actually still using my big brush here. I think I probably would have been better with my smaller brush. But I've nearly done now, so let's just crack on. I'm just really looking at all the little shapes. It's great with the flat brush, you can just put all those little shapes in. I don't want to put too much detail in, so I'm trying to stop myself from overdoing it. Bit of a shadow area there, so I'm going to leave that. I think I am done with that. I'm just going to reinstate that line. Just went over it a bit, and I think it would benefit from a straighter line there. See if I can get it back in. That's better. Okay. I think we're done now with the background, so let's go on to the cup. Some of these background colours will be actually added into the cup. For instance, this orange that we have just used would make a really good colour in the coffee itself. Let's just pop a bit of that colour in. Just some of the, I'm using my number 5 brush now. Let's just pick around that heart shape. There's too much water in the brush, so it's water in the paint. Can you see how it's running? That's not good. I need to mix some thicker mix so that it doesn't run. Coffee colour. Right, let's put the darkest tones in first, like I've been trying to teach you. Okay, dark, that's it. Maybe a bit darker, actually. A bit darker. Almost. That's better. Yeah, I can see it's almost neat burnt sienna, that. Put some of that colour in there. This is your coffee colour. We're just going around the edge with the darkest coffee colour first. Oh. I can still see quite a bit of magenta in this, so I'm just going into the lighter colour now. Some coffee colour going in. A lovely cup of coffee. This will really sort of pop when we get the highlight on the rim of the coffee cup. So a little bit of a... Okay, let's go into some lighter tone now. A little lighter, like centre here. That's where all the cream is. Creamy milk. Colour. Okay, so we've got a lighter tone in the heart shape here. I'm just going to pop that in first, and then I'm just going to go over it with some creamy colour in a second when that's dried. So I just won't let that dry a minute or two. Start to establish that creamy swirl of the heart. Again, I'm just going up to mid-tones to start with, and then we can pop in some highlights. Put a bit of that highlight here. I'm getting some highlights now, look. All these different colours of that I can see on here. Some orangey colours. Similar colours to this, isn't it? And it's good really, because you want the same colours sort of throughout your painting, and that will create a lovely harmony for you. Let's pop some of that lovely orange in. That's here and there. And we need some more white. Oh, I think we might need to clean. Get some clean in there. I'm going to just take a brush full of that coffee colour, pop it into a separate well, and just what was on my brush. And then I'm going to take lots of white, and then we're going to paint the heart swirl. And at the end we will put some white on top. Okay, so let's move on from that colour now. That was quite a light mix of coffee mix. I'm going to let that dry, and then at the end we'll pop some white on. But I want to do the yellow now in the cup. So it's quite a pale yellow, so a lot of white with it. Just pop a bit of so let's put that on first, and then we'll come on top with another warmer colour, I think. Just put this on. There's a bit of a detail in the coffee cup itself. We'll put that in. With a steady hand. Alright, so we can put the green on top, because I think it would benefit having some green on top. Let's put, now the advantage of putting that colour underneath is now you can see it. You see the shadows and the two dots of it. In fact, do you know what, I think we're going to paint the whole of that yellow, because we can always put the green on top, and I think that would benefit us. So let's put the yellow on the saucer first. Let's put it on the handle as well and go for it. Come on. This is going to give you a nice highlight shining underneath that green. You don't need to cover up all that orange either. You can leave a little bit showing through. Like that. Now then, we want some lovely blue. So let's put some phthalo blue into that mix, and that will make your green. There we go, that's a very similar colour. Maybe a bit more blue. Right. I think quite dark actually in areas. So I've got two shades of the green. Got a darker one. Look, you can see that, can you? There we go, you can see it now. So this darker shade here, look. And then we've got a lighter shade as well. So we'll start with the darker shade first. I'm going to change to my number 5 brush. a touch blue there. Perhaps a bit too dark. That's better. I just added a bit more blue to it, can you see? So I've got some blue, darker blue, and then I've got that lovely minty green. Let's put some coming around here. Okay, so that's the dark green. There's a little bit there. And you can always go over it and lighten it. Let's put some lighter green on now then. Change the colour swatch. Oh, this takes time, but it's worth it. Right. And you can see what colours you're using, you see. Okay, so this is a lighter minty green for the cup itself. I've also got two greens here. Look, I've got one with a bit more yellow in as well, so I've got two colours of green. So this is the bit of lighter green here, haven't we? Oh, what a gorgeous colour. Right, so put some here. And because we put white with it, go right up to that ridge of the, we can see the paint, the pencil line. We cover that up. With a nice line around the edge. Oh, I do like that colour. Now then. It is quite. A bit of yellow showing through. going to change. I'm going to put some of that. I can just see that colour on the bottom of the cup there. Look. Okay. It doesn't have to be exact, does it? So let's put some of that yellowy green in, some of that colour. Let's put some more yellow in it. A bit lighter. Still a bit dark, let's just put some light in. Okay, we're getting there, I think, girls and boys. Right. Okay, I think I want to put the white in now because that will then add the finishing touches to this. I just had a little bit of green on my brush. I think I'm just going to wash that off actually and have pure white. Pure white. Let's go for it. Okay. And it's this white that is going to absolutely make this picture now. I always leave the white till the very, very last. It's the brightest highlight. We need some on the heart. Just get my little detail brush. I've got a round brush now just to get that heart shape. I was just struggling a little bit with that flat brush. There we go. Okay, so there's some highlight, really strong white here on the handle. It's quite light just here, so we'll pop a bit of white just on top. Okay. And then we can bring back that little line on the cup with the highlight. And then the rim of the saucer is white. That's it, folks. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm quite happy with that. I hope you will join me in the Colour Your World 5-day paint challenge. But this is just a little taster of the type of style that you will be doing, and I will be teaching you this style. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.